Well, it was less than 2 years ago that Ron DeSantis was talked about the man, not only to beat Donald Trump, but to be the next US president. Since then, his stocks have fallen slowly to today, where he has pulled out of the Republican primary race altogether. He was criticising Donald Trump last week. Today, he endorsed him.
Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents.
Yeah, that was Ron DeSantis in a carefully curated 4-minute social media video released this morning, just about a couple of hours ago. And what has become trademark is what you just saw, clearly reading off auto cue, clearly heavily scripted. And you've got to say, quite wooden. Joining me live is Bondi Partners consultant and former White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney. Mick, great to see you. Ron DeSantis, there's a lot of, I think, reasons why he really failed to launch. But one of those is surely there's questions over his authenticity.
There are, Laura. What you just saw in that little clip from the 4-minute video that he made was sort of, that's Ron being Ron. He's kind of a stiff person, and he's a really smart person. He's an engaging person, but he doesn't do well one-on-one. Florida, where he has been very successful, is a huge state. And when you campaign there, you campaign on TV and on giant stages and auditoriums. Iowa is a really, really small state, and when you campaign there, you do it door to door and in people's living rooms. And he was never able to sell the same Ron DeSantis in Iowa as he was in Florida.
It's really interesting to see where we're at. We're still just under a year out from the presidential election. I didn't expect Ron DeSantis to be pulling out of the race so soon. Less surprising, I guess, is his endorsement of Donald Trump. He's kind of handing over the MAGA credentials to the guy who created it in Donald Trump, but had taken quite a shot at Nikki Haley on the way out. Did that surprise you?
That does not surprise me. Keep in mind,
what's the bad blood there? What's the history? Come on.
It's not history, it's the future. It's 2028. Both of them now are sort of coming to the realization that Donald Trump is going to be the winner. Now, Nikki Haley's going to have a chance in New Hampshire. We could talk about that in a second. But Trump can only serve one more term, which means that even if he wins, 2028 will be an open race, and two of the leading contenders are going to be Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley. So this was a chess move designed to sort of pigeonhole Nikki as an establishment centrist politician. Not sure that's going to work or not, but that's what he's trying to do in anticipation of 4 years from now.
Yeah, really interesting. I just want to show our viewers as well a little tete-a-tete between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. It was almost a Joe Biden moment for Donald Trump. Let's have a look.
Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down. They don't want to talk about that.
But last night, Trump is at a rally, and he's going on and on mentioning me multiple times as to why I didn't take security during the Capitol riots. Why I didn't handle January 6th better. I wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th.
Okay, what happened there? Did Donald Trump really confuse Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi?
Probably. It's not the first time, but recently he also confused Joe Biden and Barack Obama a couple weeks back in a long presentation. He's had little minor screw-ups like this. Sometimes they're gaffes, but when you do it again and again, it starts to raise questions. And the Republican electorate has become so attuned to Joe Biden being out of touch and too old for the job that I think Nikki Haley sees an opening here to raise the issue. She doesn't have to attack Trump on his policies, doesn't have to attack on his personality, can attack him on his mental ability. It might be too little too late, but it's certainly created an avenue for her here late in the early primaries.
Yeah, also in his age too, really, because I think Donald Trump gets away with, the comparison between him and Joe Biden. They're of a similar age. Joe Biden older, obviously, but he's no spring chicken. But anyway, going into the New Hampshire primary, this is certainly one to watch. The demographics very different from Iowa, of course. What can we expect here? Predictions, if you will, Mick Mulvaney.
Very close race. I'm hearing from my folks in New Hampshire who understand the race that she actually might have a chance to win. I don't believe that. It feels more like a 8-point kind of race. Keep in mind, you're right. The demographics are different. More importantly, the structure is different. Here, independents can vote in New Hampshire. So folks who are not aligned or used to be Democrats and now declare themselves to be independent can vote and will be voting in this race. This is Nikki Haley's very best chance to beat Donald Trump. I don't think she's going to get across the line, but she might get it down in the low single digits here on Tuesday night.
If she does she have a chance, or is this, a coronation for Donald Trump? Either way you look at it.
That's a great question. By the way, it's a question not nearly enough American media are asking, because the next state is South Carolina. After New Hampshire, South Carolina, where I am tonight, where Nikki Haley was governor, Donald Trump is winning here by 35 points. He got the endorsement this week of Tim Scott, who Nikki Haley gave a Senate seat to a decade ago. Now, he dropped out of the race and endorsed
Tim Scott. He was your guy. He was the normal Republican poster boy, wasn't he? Why has he turned around and endorsed Donald Trump?
I asked him that question. I know Tim well enough. I called him. I said, Tim, what is this all about? He said, look, I really liked working with Trump. He always treated me well on things that were important to me. And Tim then ran off a list of legislation that was passed when Donald Trump was president. So I think it's a devil working relationship kind of endorsement, but it's huge in South Carolina.
Yeah, certainly. His Mick Mulvaney will be talking to you frequently, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, LJ.